They don't need to know your plan. They don't need to see your grind, because the loudest people in the room are usually doing the least. While they talk, you build. While they laugh, you train. While they doubt, you sharpen your skills in the dark. No announcements, no validation, no applause. Let your absence confuse them and your results shock them. The world is addicted to noise. Everyone wants attention. Everyone wants credit before the work is done. But real winners, they move in silence. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is focus. When you work hard in silence, you remove pressure. No expectations, no opinions, no distractions. You stop explaining your dreams to people who don't understand sacrifice. Because the truth is, the more you talk, the less you do. Energy wasted on explaining could be energy invested in execution. Your grind doesn't need an audience. Your struggle doesn't need sympathy. Your vision doesn't need approval. Every hour you wake up early. Every rep you do when no one is watching. Every night you stay up learning instead of scrolling. That's where power is built. Silence protects your momentum. People love to cheer potential, but envy progress. That's why you keep your head down. That's why you stop posting goals and start posting results. Let them underestimate you. Let them think you're behind, because surprise is a weapon. You don't need to respond to criticism. Outwork it. You don't need to argue with doubters. Outgrow them. When results speak, words become unnecessary. One day they'll ask, how did you do it? And you'll smile, because you did it while they were busy talking. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is direction. In a world that constantly demands attention, opinions, reaction, and explanations, choosing silence becomes a strategic advantage. When you stop talking about what you plan to do, your mind begins to lock in on what actually needs to be done. Focus is not created by motivation alone. It is protected by boundaries. And silence is one of the strongest boundaries you can build. Every time you talk about your goals, you release mental energy. You feel a small sense of accomplishment just by saying it out loud. That feeling is dangerous because it tricks your brain into thinking progress has been made when nothing has actually changed. Silence removes that illusion. When you keep your goals to yourself, there is no false reward, no premature satisfaction. The only way to feel progress is to actually work. Silence also eliminates unnecessary noise. Noise doesn't just come from outside voices. It comes from comparison, validation seeking, and the pressure to perform for others. When too many people know your plans, their expectations begin to shape your actions. You start working not for growth, but for approval. Focus dies when your actions are driven by how others will react instead of what must be done. Working in silence allows you to move at your own pace. You are no longer rushing to prove anything. You are no longer adjusting your timeline to match someone else's opinion. You wake up, execute, and improve without the weight of explanation. Focus thrives when there is no audience demanding updates or results before the process is complete. Silence creates mental clarity. When you stop explaining your journey, your mind becomes quieter. That quiet space is where deep work happens. It's where discipline replaces motivation. It's where consistency is built, not through excitement, but through routine. Focus is not about intensity. It's about repetition, and repetition requires calm, not chaos. Another powerful aspect of silence is that it trains emotional control. When you don't react to every comment, doubt, or distraction, you conserve emotional energy. Emotional energy is limited. Every argument avoided, every opinion ignored, every unnecessary conversation skipped becomes fuel redirected toward growth. Focus sharpens when emotions are stable, not scattered. Silence also helps. You recognize what truly matters. When the noise fades, priorities become clear. You start seeing which habits are pushing you forward and which are holding you back. You become aware of how you spend your time, how you use your energy, and where your attention leaks. This awareness is the foundation of focus. Without an effort is random. With it, effort becomes precise. In silence, self-discipline grows stronger. There is no one watching, no one clapping, no one reminding you to show up. You either do the work or you don't. That pressure builds internal accountability. You stop relying on external motivation and start relying on standards. Focus becomes non-negotiable because no one else is responsible for your progress. Silence also protects you from distraction disguised as opportunity. When people know your plans, they often offer advice. suggestions, shortcuts, or alternatives. While some may be helpful, most create confusion. Too many options fracture focus. Silence keeps your path narrow and your direction clear. You stick to the plan because you are not constantly influenced by outside voices. When you work quietly, your mind enters a state of deep concentration. You begin to notice details others miss. You improve skills faster. You make fewer mistakes. Focus becomes your competitive edge, not because you are smarter, but because you are undistracted. In a distracted world, a focused individual becomes unstoppable. Silence also strengthens patience. When no one knows what you are building, there is no pressure for immediate results. You learn to trust the process. You accept slow progress. You understand that mastery takes time. Focus grows when you are not in a hurry to show results, but committed to becoming better every day. Working in silence teaches you to measure success differently. Instead of looking for recognition, you look for improvement. Instead of applause, you track discipline. Instead of attention, you value progress. Focus becomes internal, not external. You stop asking, "Do they see me?" and start asking, "Did I improve today?" Silence is not about hiding. It is about preparing. It is a space where skills are sharpened, habits are built, and weaknesses are confronted honestly. In silence, there is no performance, only work. And when focus is built in silence, it becomes unbreakable because it was never dependent on noise, praise, or permission. Talking is easy. Results are rare. In a world where everyone announces their plans, posts their intentions, and seeks recognition before effort, choosing to let results speak is a powerful form of discipline. Real strength is not in explaining what you're going to do, but in quietly becoming someone who no longer needs to explain anything at all. When you focus on results, your energy shifts from performance to production. You stop asking how things look and start asking if they work. This mindset forces accountability because results don't respond to excuses, emotions, or intentions. They only respond to action. Every hour you spend producing something real compounds, while every hour spent talking fades the moment the conversation ends. Letting results speak also removes the need for validation. Validation is addictive. And once you depend on it, your progress becomes fragile. You begin chasing approval instead of improvement. When you commit to results, you stop needing applause. Your confidence becomes internal, built on proof rather than praise. That kind of confidence is stable because it's earned, not borrowed. Results expose truth. They reveal what you've actually been doing when no one was watching. You can't negotiate with outcomes. Either the work was done or it wasn't. This honesty is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Growth begins the moment you stop hiding behind words and face the reality of your output. When results are the goal, discipline replaces motivation. Motivation is emotional and temporary. Results require consistency, structure, and sacrifice. On days when you feel tired, distracted, or uninspired, the commitment to results keeps you moving. You work not because you feel like it, but because you understand what the outcome demands. Letting results speak also simplifies life. There's no need to argue, explain, or convince anyone. You stop wasting time defending your vision. The work does the talking. This silence is powerful because it confuses people who expect noise. They don't see you coming. They underestimate you. And that gives you space to grow without pressure. Results also change how people treat you. Words invite opinions. Results command respect. When people see consistency, improvement, and achievement, the conversation shifts. Doubt fades. Criticism quiets. Not because you argued back, but because your actions answered every question. Focusing on results forces you to master fundamentals. You can't fake progress. You can't shortcut competence. If the result matters, you must improve skills, habits, and decision-making. This creates depth. While others chase quick attention, you build real capability. And capability always outlasts hype. Letting results speak trains patience. Results don't arrive instantly. They require repetition, failure, adjustment, and persistence. This process builds mental toughness. You learn to delay gratification. You become comfortable working without recognition. Over time, this patience becomes a weapon. While others quit because they aren't seen fast enough, you keep going because you're committed to the outcome, not the applause. Results also protect you from distraction. When you're clear about what you're building, distractions lose their power. You don't argue online. You don't respond to every comment. You don't chase trends that don't align with your goals. Your time becomes valuable because every action is measured against the result you want. There is also a quiet confidence that comes from results. It's not loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. It walks into a room and doesn't announce anything. That confidence comes from knowing what you're capable of because you've done the work. No one can take that from you. When results speak, excuses disappear. You stop blaming circumstances, people, or timing. You focus on what you can control. You adjust strategies instead of complaining. You learn faster because you're honest with yourself. Every setback becomes data, not drama. Results also create momentum. Small wins stack. Progress builds belief. Belief fuels consistency. And consistency multiplies results. This cycle only begins when you stop talking and start doing. Once it starts, it becomes hard to stop because progress is addictive in the right way. Letting results speak doesn't mean isolation. It means intention. It means choosing substance over noise. It means understanding that the loudest statement you can make is consistent improvement over time. When your work becomes undeniable, words become unnecessary, and the world eventually listens not to what you said, but to what you built. Attention is loud. Discipline is quiet. In today's world, attention is easy to get and hard to keep, while discipline is hard to build and impossible to ignore once it's formed. Choosing discipline over attention is one of the most powerful decisions you can make because it shifts your focus from being seen to becoming strong. Attention feeds the ego, but discipline feeds progress. When attention becomes the goal, effort turns into performance. You start doing things for how they look instead of how effective they are. Discipline doesn't care about appearance, it cares about execution. It demands that you show up even when there's no audience, no applause, and no immediate reward. Discipline is built in the unseen moments. It's created early in the morning, late at night, and in the spaces where no one is watching. Attention fades the moment people look away, but discipline stays with you. It becomes part of your identity. You don't need motivation because your habits carry you forward. When you prioritize attention, consistency suffers. You work harder when people are watching and slow down when they aren't. Discipline removes that inconsistency. It creates standards you follow regardless of external recognition. This is where real growth happens, when your effort stays the same in public and in private. Discipline protects you from distraction. Attention pulls you in 1,000 directions. Notifications, opinions, trends, comparisons, they all compete for your focus. Discipline narrows your vision and forces you to decide what matters and ignore the rest. You stop reacting and start executing. Choosing discipline over attention also builds mental toughness. It teaches you to tolerate boredom, discomfort, and repetition. These are the conditions where mastery is formed, while others quit because the work feels dull or invisible. Discipline keeps you moving because you understand that progress is rarely exciting in the moment. Attention often creates pressure to perform, but discipline creates freedom. When you are disciplined, you're not controlled by moods, emotions, or external expectations. You don't need to feel inspired to act. You act because it's time to act. That freedom allows you to work calmly, clearly, and consistently. Discipline also sharpens self-respect. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when no one is watching, you build trust with yourself. That trust is powerful. It creates confidence that doesn't depend on likes, views, or approval. You know who you are because your actions confirm it daily. When discipline becomes the priority, comparison loses its grip. Attention thrives on comparison. Who's ahead? Who's louder? Who's getting noticed? Discipline focuses inward. You measure progress against your past self, not someone else's highlight reel. This keeps your journey clean and focused. Discipline compounds. Small, repeated action stack over time and create massive change. Attention spikes and crashes, but discipline grows steadily. What starts as a simple routine becomes a lifestyle. What feels hard at first becomes automatic. Over time, discipline carries you further than talent, motivation, or popularity ever could. Choosing discipline over attention also makes your success sustainable. Attention-driven success is fragile. It depends on trends and public interest. Discipline-driven success is durable. It's built on skills, habits, and systems that continue working even when interest fades. Discipline teaches you to delay gratification. Attention wants reward now. Discipline is willing to wait. This patience separates those who last from those who burn out. You learn to invest effort without immediate payoff because you trust the process and the long-term outcome. There's also a quiet authority that comes with discipline. You don't need to announce what you're doing. Your presence, consistency, and results speak for you. People feel it. They notice the difference even if they can't explain it. That authority isn't forced, it's earned. When you choose discipline, you choose control. Control over your time, your energy, and your direction. You stop living reactively and start living intentional. Your days gain structure. Your goals gain clarity. Your actions gain purpose. Discipline doesn't seek attention, but attention eventually finds discipline. Not because you chased it, but because consistency is impossible to hide forever. The work shows up in your mindset, your results, and the way you carry yourself. And when attention finally arrives, it's no longer the goal. It's simply a byproduct of the standards you refuse to compromise. Talking is easy. Posting is easy. Promising is easy. Results are hard. That's why results matter more than words. When you decide to let results make the noise, you stop wasting energy on explaining yourself and start investing it in execution. You understand that proof always speaks louder than intention. Results don't argue. They don't need validation. They don't need defense. When results arrive, excuses disappear. Opinions fade. Doubt loses power. This is why disciplined people stay quiet. They trust outcomes more than announcements. Noise creates pressure. Results create respect. When you talk too much about what you're going to do, you trap yourself in expectation. You start working for approval instead of progress. Letting results speak frees you from that trap. You work at your own pace, in your own lane, focused on quality rather than applause. Results are built slowly, quietly, and patiently. No one sees the repetition. No one notices the sacrifices. No one applauds the consistency. But every rep, every early morning, every disciplined decision stacks towards something undeniable. When results finally show up, they arrive with weight. People who chase attention often peak early and fade fast. People who chase results stay invisible longer, but last much longer. Results have endurance. They aren't dependent on trends or moods. They're built on habits that survive boredom and pressure. When you let results make the noise, you stop over-explaining your vision. You stop convincing people to believe in you. You realize belief isn't required. Results will force recognition when the time is right. Silence becomes a strategy, not a weakness. Results also protect your peace. When you're focused on outcomes, you're less reactive to criticism. Words don't shake you because your confidence isn't based on opinions. It's based on evidence on the work you've put in and the progress you've made. Quiet work builds loud confidence. You walk differently when you know what you're capable of. You don't need to announce your moves because you trust them. This confidence isn't loud or arrogant. It's calm, grounded, and unshakable. Letting results speak also sharpens your standards. You stop doing things just to look busy. You start asking, does this actually move me forward? This mindset cuts out distractions and forces efficiency. Every action has a purpose. Results expose truth. They reveal who stayed consistent and who only talked. Over time, effort leaves a trail. Skills improve. Strength builds. Mindsets shift. What was once invisible becomes obvious. And when that happens, no explanation is necessary. When you rely on results, you stop seeking shortcuts. You understand that real outcomes require real work. This patience separates professionals from pretenders. You don't rush the process because you respect it. Results also create leverage. Once you have them, doors open without you knocking. Opportunities appear without you asking. People listen without you speaking. This is the power of letting the work talk. Silence during the process isn't weakness, it's discipline. It's focus. It's choosing progress over praise. While others broadcast their plans, you're executing them. While others seek attention, you're stacking evidence. Results don't come from motivation alone. They come from structure, consistency, and standards. They come from showing up when it's inconvenient. They come from choosing long-term growth over short-term recognition. Letting results make the noise also humbles you. You realize that success isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about becoming capable, reliable, and resilient. When results finally arrive, they don't scream, they resonate. People feel them. They see the difference in your actions, your confidence, your presence, and by then, you no longer need validation because the work has already done what words never could. Discipline in silence is the highest form of self-respect. It means you are committed, even when no one is watching, even when there's no applause, even when recognition feels far away. This kind of discipline isn't fueled by motivation or validation. It is fueled by identity. You do the work because it's who you are becoming. Most people want quick results and loud success. They want to be seen before they are ready. But legacy is not built in noise. It is built in consistency. The strongest foundations are poured underground, unseen and uncelebrated. The same is true for personal growth. What you do daily in silence defines what you will stand on publicly later. Silent discipline trains your character. When no one is watching, excuses have no audience. There is no one to impress, no one to deceive, only truth remains. Either you show up or you don't. And every time you choose discipline in those quiet moments, you strengthen your self-trust. This form of discipline is uncomfortable because it removes external rewards. There are no likes, no praise, no instant feedback. Yet this is where real growth happens. You learn to rely on internal standards instead of external approval. You stop asking, will this be noticed? And start asking, will this matter? Working in silence sharpens focus. You are no longer distracted by comparison or competition. You measure progress against who you were yesterday, not against someone else's highlight reel. This keeps your energy clean and your direction clear. Discipline in silence also builds resilience. When setbacks happen, and they will, you don't crumble. Because your confidence isn't tied to attention. You are used to standing alone with your effort. You are used to pushing forward without reassurance. This makes you dangerous in the best way. Legacy is not about popularity. It's about impact. It's about what remains after the noise fades. People may forget what you said, but they won't forget what you built. Silent discipline compounds over time, creating skills, strength, wisdom, and reliability. These are the traits that last. Many quit because they don't see immediate results. But discipline in silence teaches patience. You understand that growth is not always visible. Roots grow before branches. Strength forms before recognition. Those who endure the quiet phase earn the loud outcomes. When you move in silence, you protect your vision. Not everyone needs access to your goals. Not everyone will understand your path. Silence shields you from unnecessary opinions and negativity. It allows your plan to mature without interference. This kind of discipline creates a different level of confidence. Not the loud, performative kind, but a calm certainty. You know what you've sacrificed. You know what you've endured. You don't need to announce it. Your presence alone carries weight. Eventually your work will surface, not because you forced it to, but because it can no longer be ignored. At that point, success doesn't change you, it reveals you. It shows who you became in the quiet. And when people ask how it happened, the answer will never be flashy. It will be simple: consistency, discipline, and silence. Day after day, choice after choice. No shortcuts. So work hard in silence. Let the nights of doubt, the mornings of discipline, and the years of quiet effort shape you. Build when no one is clapping. Grow when no one is watching. Because when your legacy finally speaks, it won't need volume. It will carry truth, strength, and permanence.